From BigHMW.com, World Headquarters at Bishop Park, this is the Atari Report, 2600 edition with Ray Jackson.
Good evening, everybody. On this edition of the Atari Report, we take a look at a game that the late great Don Pardo named the Woman of the Year, Ms. Pac-Man for the Atari 2600 video computer system.
She's not just a Woman of the Year, she's more than Pac-Man with a bow. She's Ms. Pac-Man herself, the 1983 Woman of the Year and hit game for the Atari 2600 video computer system. As you can see, the graphics are far better than the original 1981 release of Pac-Man that came out back in the day. That was previously reviewed right here in the Atari Report. And look at this. I mean, this is great for the 2600 at the time. I mean, obviously they took their time in putting this out, and used 8K of memory as opposed to the original 4K that Pac-Man itself had come out with back in 1981. Obviously, the ghosts are their true colors, obviously. There are 4 mazes, all in their true colors as well. And yes, even floating fruit all over the place, ready for Ms. Pac-Man to seek down and gobble. Yep, all sorts of fruit, moving fruit at that, including pretzels, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah. I mean, this game is quite cool and everything else like that. I have 2 different downloads of this particular game. One with the blue background, as you can see here on your screen, and the other one being with the black background as well. I have those both on the AtariAge.com forums if you want to download those for yourself. And I gotta tell you, this is a nice game. I gotta tell you, far better than Pac-Man for 1981. Yep. 1982 and 83, they actually learned their lesson. They took their time in doing this right. And yes, while there are better versions of Pac-Man out there nowadays, this was certainly better for its time. Yep. Much better than the original Pac-Man. And, it led to other great Pac-Man games out there, that were put up on the 2600. I gotta tell you, I mean, this is something else. I mean, the joystick response is far better in this game than it was on Pac-Man. And I gotta tell you, it looks good. 2 thumbs up for this one, considering the 2600's limitations and the fact it was put out back in 1982. But, this is something else. I gotta tell you, I mean, obviously the graphics for 1982 were fine. They could be better for 2020 standards, but certainly they were top-notch at their time. And yes, there are better games out there, but the thing is, though, this game is certainly playable and certainly worth having in your Atari 2600 collection, either on ROM file or in cartridge form. Those of you who are privileged enough to have owned the cartridge or own the cartridge currently, well, I'm glad you kept your cartridge, because you would enjoy this game. I mean, and a few others like it. Yep. It's all good. Yep. Just watch the action and enjoy for yourself. I gotta tell you. 2 thumbs up for this one, but there are some issues for it. But you never know what those issues might be corrected in the later future. But, yeah. Obviously, you see the blue maze here, and there is a little bit of a flickering issue involving the ghosts. But that's commonplace with Atari 2600 games. After all, the 2600 was notoriously known for not allowing more than 4 objects to move on the screen at the same time without having that flickering. But yes, as you can see, even at the end of the game, it has a little show it puts on right here. And that's why I kept the recording extended after I played the game. But just enjoy this for yourself. I mean, I gotta tell you, it's nice. Nicely done.
Well, wasn't that great, guys? Finally, a version of Pac-Man for the Atari 2600 that actually makes Pac-Man look good. Yep. And this time, they actually took their time in doing this particular game as opposed to the original 1981 release of Pac-Man, where they rushed it in time for the Christmas holidays and had nary a care about the quality of it or whatever. This one definitely gets 2 thumbs up from me, because this version, they actually took their time in doing this. They took more care in doing Ms. Pac-Man than they did the original, like I mentioned earlier on. Indeed, Don Pardo was right. This was the Woman of the Year, And she still is in some people's minds. And I got to tell you, she's well worth it. Now, of course, there's a black background version as well as the original blue background version available as well. I have the links available through AtariH.com if you click on the link down below on this video. And you'll be able to download both and try them for yourself, of course. Also, this game was one of the very rare ones back in the day that used 8K of memory as opposed to the standard 4K or less. And indeed, it's well worth it. If you have any questions or comments about any of my videos, feel free to shoot me an email at the AtariReport@hotmail.com. I read every letter and I answer every letter, and hit the subscribe button down below if you like what you see as well. Well, that's game over for this edition of the Atari Report. So for all of us here at BigHMW.com World Headquarters, this is Ray Jackson saying good gaming and good night.